Okay, this is exercise 11A1 on page 520. You have a company that produces speakers, and they sell them for $60. The variable cost is $42, and they have the capacity to produce 25. They have a division that can use 5,000 of the speakers. They've received an outside quote of $57 per speaker from another manufacturer. And so, number 1A, assuming that they have that capacity, which they do if they're only selling 20,000 of the speakers, then they have the 5,000 extra to sell to the hi-fi division. So from the standpoint of audio division, what is their lowest acceptable price? That would be the $42. So if you look at the formula that we had in the book for transfer price, it would be the variable cost per unit of 42 plus the total contribution margin on lost sales. And because they won't have any lost sales because they have the capacity to do the 5,000, it would be 0 divided by the 5,000 that they would transfer. So basically $42. And then as far as what is the highest acceptable price that hi-fi would be willing to accept, would be the $57, which is what they got from the outside supplier. Okay, so C, basically they're saying, should this happen? If left free to negotiate without interference, would you expect the division managers to voluntarily agree to transfer 5,000 speakers from audio division to hi-fi? And of course, because they should be able to agree upon a price between the $42 contribution margin and the $57 from outside suppliers. So somewhere in between there, they should be able to come up with a price that they could agree on. And then from the standpoint of the entire company, should the transfer take place? And, sorry. Yes, they should take place because the cost of the speakers is $42, and they would save the $57 that they would have to pay for the speakers from an outside supplier. I'm trying to keep from typing, so I'm kind of got confused on my pace. Okay, so now let's look at the same problem under the assumption that they are selling all that they are producing. So they're selling the 25,000 units. So in order for us to sell to hi-fi division, we would have lost sales to outside customers. So that's what number 2 is saying. Assume that audio division is selling all the speakers and it can produce to outside customers. So from the standpoint of audio division, what is the lowest acceptable transfer price for speakers sold to hi-fi? So we have to look at what that transfer price. Remember, our calculation is our variable cost per unit, which is 42, plus the total contribution margin on lost sales. So if we take our sales of 60,000 minus 42, that gives us our contribution margin per unit. And so we want to look at the lost contribution margins that we're going to have on these sales. And so we would have an $18 lost contribution margin times those 5,000 units that we would lose from selling it to outside customers. So you get 90,000, and then you would divide it by those 5,000 units that you are going to transfer. And so then divided by the 5,000. Hold on, moving slow here. So you would get 18. And so $42 plus 18 gives you 60. And so that's the lowest acceptable transfer price that for speakers sold to hi-fi division that they should accept. Well, that's going to pose a problem somewhat, because from the standpoint of hi-fi, the highest acceptable price they're willing to pay is going to be the $57 that they got from the outside person. So the lowest acceptable transfer from within the division is 60. Well, they can buy from outside the division for 57, so they're not going to pay more than that just to buy from within the division. And so if left free to negotiate without interference, would would this deal be made? And I would say no, it's going to be extremely unlikely because they can buy it for $3 less from outside. And so from the standpoint of the entire company, should the transfer take place, and why not? Once again, the company saves $3 by allowing them to purchase it from outside. So from the standpoint of the entire company, the transfer should not take place. By transferring those speakers internally, the company gives up revenue of $60, but they save $57. And so for that loss of $3. And so that's that problem. It seems like a lot, but it's really pretty simple calculations, and actually it just makes sense when you look at it. So hopefully this helped.